Karen Davila. Pilit ginagawa ng isyu sila Senadora Marcos at Pangulong Duterte. Pinaikot-ikot pa niya. Ngunit hindi umobra ang kanyang kalokohan sa talino ni Madam IMEE. Karen Davila, butata. Sabi nga nila, you cannot put a good man down. Tungayan ang buong detalye. At kapag hindi pa nakapag-subscribe, subscribe na upang tuloy-tuloy ang ating talakayan.
One of the first to expose Pharmally, the company, those belonging to the company. And I wanted to ask you directly, there was even talk that it's one of the reasons that President Duterte supposedly got upset with you and affected his support for Senator Bongbong Marcos. Would you believe, do you have, can you confirm that?
Well, I hope I didn't jeopardize Bongbong's chances, but certainly, alam ko, nagtampo ang presidente sa akin, but if truth be told, I was completely aghast. I was shocked by the COA findings, and I couldn't do anything else but join the investigation. I'm one of the members of the Blue Ribbon Committee, and I think at the end of the day, the president himself would not aid or abet such corruption.
Now, there is an outstanding warrant for Michael Yang, and people have been asking, why hasn't the Senate implemented this yet? Is that correct, Senator? Is it still this way?
I believe so. I'm not quite certain because I haven't heard about it for a while, but I think the Senate is prepared to execute and implement any warrant provided they know his whereabouts. And to date, it's not being clear.
Okay. Are you satisfied essentially with the findings? Do you believe there's enough to already charge the Christopher Lau, formerly head of USEC of PSDBM, Lincoln Ong, Michael Yang, and of course the Dargani siblings?
Yes, I'm prepared to sign the committee report. I've seen drafts of it, and I think they're fair. You know very well that we're not an investigative body as such, and we do not prosecute. The Senate merely investigates in aid of legislation. So it's for legislation for changes in the structure of the PSDBM, a procurement service that seems to act independently of everybody. They're not answerable to anyone. We need to change that.
So this is quite interesting. You are willing to sign that even if, I mean, considering how the president has protected Michael Yang and even Christopher Lau at one point, you are willing to sign that even if it may affect the endorsement of Senator Bongbong Marcos by the president.
I believe in the president's commitment against corruption, against crime, against drugs. And I am certain that if the truth is finally revealed, he will uphold his campaign against corruption.
Should charges be filed against DOH Secretary Francisco Duque? I mean, Go ahead.
I'm not quite certain where the committee report is on that, and it still has to be discussed. Hindi pa naka-final eh.
Pero Senator, in your hearings, Health Secretary Francisco Duque has said they're not accountable, so to speak, on how the PSDBM procures materials or the prices of it. Do you believe in that the DOH has absolutely no say, considering these were medical supplies?
I think it's a complete confusion, and I think legislation is required to make it clear. Bakit nagdi-direct procurement yung DOH, yung iba naman napupunta sa PSDBM, yung iba napupunta sa DTI-PTIC? Yeah. Alin ba talaga? Why is there this whole jumble, this whole morass of adjudicating and awarding bodies? Ang gulo-gulo. Hindi ko maintindihan eh.
Okay. Before I move to
I think in the confusion, we lose a lot of money, 67 billion.
Yeah. So before I move on to another issue quickly, I wanted to ask you, nag-usap na po ba kayo ng Pangulo? Were you able to communicate and dialogue already?
Regarding Pharmally, I have to be candid. I told the president that I was completely shocked by Pharmally, and I hope I'm not being blamed as being anti-administration. After all, his administration stands for clean government, and he has been consistently against corruption. Sinabi ko talaga, wag man ninyo ako i-uninvite o i-unfriend or kagalitan. Talagang nagulat ako dyan sa Pharmally. Pasensya na lang po.
Oo. But do you believe he really stands for that? Or frankly speaking, wasn't he protecting them at one point?
I think the president is a good friend, but at the end of the day, the truth will prevail. Once he sees the evidence, he's a trained lawyer and a prosecutor, he will be convinced. So yun ang dapat natin gawin. Hanapin lahat ng ebidensya. And I don't think it ends with Pharmally because if you recall, those are only the face masks, a couple of face shields, a number of test kits. E paano kayong malawakang test kit, isolation centers, higit sa lahat, yung vaccine? Nako, sabi nila, mas malaki pa raw yun eh.
Okay, now let's talk about something that you are gonna bring forward. It's quite surprising. It's agricultural smuggling. Your brother, presidential aspirant Senator Bongbong Marcos, has candidly said in a forum, he said, sorry na lang ang masasaktan, but he's against the rice tariffication law. He said that. Am I correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. And you believe that rice import volumes, one, you've said it's increased, even if local production has improved since 2019. Is it time to rethink the importation of rice already?
Yes, that's correct. Yes, I'm agreed. I agree with my brother na bato-bato sa langit, ang tamaan wag magalit dahil large-scale agricultural smuggling is tantamount to economic sabotage. There's no ifs or buts about it. But in the past 5-6 years that the law has been in place, no one has been convicted. Ano ba naman yan? Sample, in Mindanao, for example, we've seen it time and again. Bakit hindi nahahatulan yan? So we're really disappointed, once again, with the enforcement of what's already existing law. In the meantime, with regard to rice tariffication, I think we're not able to abolish that because we signed on 25 years ago to the WTO. And that's very clear. It's an international agreement that we should allow importation. But allowing importation doesn't mean we surrender our sovereign right to regulate. Pwede naman i-regulate, ba't naman ipapasok sa katutak na bigas during the harvest season? Masakit naman sa kalooban, hindi mo mabenta yung palay at yung bigas. In the meantime, container loads of rice are arriving, and the Philippines has become the world's largest rice importer. In fact, our shortage with this bumper crop and all the RCEP and other agricultural competitiveness efforts has gone up. We are producing 97-95% of total rice requirements. Why are we importing so much? I don't get it.
So why do you think are there certain sectors, families, business owners being protected or clearly taking advantage of the rice tariffication law?
Without pointing any fingers, it's infinitely, even a back of the envelope calculation, it's infinitely more profitable to import rice than to buy it locally. Talaga naman, I mean, there are kickbacks all the way from insurance to shipping to traders' fees to middlemen fees. There's a lot there. And unfortunately, that's really become the issue. The hope was that if tariffication would allow many people to import, there would be less corruption in the NFA. But that doesn't seem to have happened. It only has brought down the rice prices. But in fact, our rice farmers have done a great job, and the harvest testified to that. Ganon din yung pork. Hindi ko nga maintindihan while we're suffering with ASF, In the meantime, Visayas and Mindanao has a massive oversupply of pork for Christmas, but it can't get shipped out. Eh ngayon na, Odette pa. Ano ba naman yan? In the meantime, we keep importing. Kalokohan na to.
Oh, no. So why is that? You have also actually, this is you're calling the attention right now when it comes to imported meats. You're saying that they're being misdeclared, undervalued as offal, so that importers and smugglers pay lower tariffs. Tariff on good meat is at 30%. On offal, it's only 5%. Do you have solid information on this, Senator?
Yes, I've seen it time and again. It's becoming ridiculous. We keep seeing, sasabihin nila, laman loob, kaya 5% lang yung tax. Pero pag binuksan, liempo, puro prime cut yan, 30% tax. So nagkakaloko-loko. So we're wondering what's happened to this first border, second border, single window of customs. Nagkakasabwatan ba dyan ang customs at ang agriculture, pati DOH? If you recall, the African swine fever came through imported meat. And now, also, we are getting the same problem in the vegetable belt. You know, I come from northern Luzon. Masakit sa kalooban, yung dumadagsa na carrots, repolyo, at iba pa. Always misdeclared as pastry, puff pastry and baking goods. Pag binuksan, puro sibuyas. Pambihira naman tong buhay na to. Hindi ba nila in-expectation yung mga yan?
Oo. No, so ang tanong ngayon dito, Senator, just quickly, I know you're on recess already, but will the Senate take action in terms of calling customs and agencies actually responsible for making sure that there is no misdeclaration?
Yes, we've actually had so many hearings in the Committee on Agriculture, and now there's been constituted a committee of the whole, meaning the entire Senate is hearing this agricultural smuggling problem. Pare-pareho ang dahilan turuan ng turuan kasi wala daw silang equipment, wala raw tauhan, nalulusutan sila, ang daming dahilan But you and I know, if there's a will, there's a way. Pag gustong gawin, talagang gagawan ng paraan, and there doesn't seem to be that will, not even the will to convict and prosecute smugglers.
Okay. On that note, Senator Imeemarcos, I want to thank you for your time this morning, but I did want to ask you just quickly, you must have been surprised with the numbers of your brother, Senator Bongbong Marcos, in the surveys.
Yes, it's come as an enormous surprise. It's a huge windfall. My brother's been working quietly all these years. But the truth is, we've been out of fashion for such a long time. We're surprised that we're back in style.
Okay, that's a very funny way to put it. But this I wanted to ask you, although you are not the candidate, it would be better for me to ask your brother, but I haven't interviewed him just yet. But if he does win as president, he would be president of all, which would mean he would be president for those who fought against your family, fought against your father's dictatorship, fought against, he would be president of human rights victims. And does he plan to, I think, Senator, this is a question for many people. Does he plan to dialogue, to close this? It's an open wound for a big sector of society. Does he plan to address those questions, Senator?
Well, I can't speak for my brother, but the truth is so much time has passed. At the end of the day, history will judge us. And this is a new era. And the only way to fight pandemics, to fight climate change, and to finally see economic and social development in the Philippines is really to unify. So as trite as that may sound, I think that's what my brother's answer would be. In my case, we as children, we're taught by our dad very clearly about the team of rivals and that Lincoln-esque image of all the rivals sitting around the table, trying to hammer together the best plan for the future of the nation. And that's the dream.
Okay, and I don't mean to put you on the spot with this question, but interestingly, you do have observers saying that your father and the owners of ABS-CBN have been at odds with each other. We know the history on that. And where would your brother stand in the reopening of ABS-CBN? Where would you stand on that?
It's very curious. I am very open-minded on this for a very simple reason. I have experience working with Piqui Lopez in EDC, the biggest investor in Ilocos Norte when I was governor. I had no problem at all. There was a bit of a back and forth, quite frankly, between my brother and I, and he said, "These are our enemies. Surely you don't want them in the province." Tapos yung sabi ko, yeah, but you know, I've asked them for everything. Help for the schools, help for the supply chains of the farmers, that they should help with this and that in all the little barangays that surrounded them. They've called everything. I've even made them plant 300 trees for every shrub they cut. And every single thing they've said yes to. And thereafter, I had a very congenial, convivial working relationship with the so-called evil ABS people under the conglomerate. And to my mind, ABS, under the new construct defined by law and all the problems that have been already revealed, once it solves all that, para sa akin walang problema buksan yan. First 100 days para makita na natin.
Okay, last word, Senator Imee, anything you'd like to add?
Yes, I would like
you aren't the candidate. That's why I didn't want to put
know,
you
I'm
not
not
the
a
candidate
candidate.
per se, right? So
That's right.
it's difficult to ask you these questions.
It's
But
also
then
very
one thing-
difficult. It's also
Exactly.
difficult for me to answer because this is the first time I'm not a candidate every 3 years. Backup dancer ang papel ko ngayon. Kaya
Yes.
nakakatuwa rin.
Yeah, so
But sabihin ko na lang that we're not postponing Christmas. Let's
Okay.
just, for all those that we have lost, let's basta yakapin natin ng mas mahigpit ang ating mga minamahal sa buhay at balikan natin ang masasayang alaala kasi bawat isa sa atin nawalan ng lola, nawalan ng ama, nawalan ng katrabaho, kaibigan dito sa COVID. Sa Odette pa, dahil sa Odette, maraming nawalan ng bahay, ng hanap buhay, ng pamilya. Sa ating lahat, nandito pa rin tayo sa isa't isa. We are here for each other and with the Lord and with Christmas, there will be hope. Happy New Year!
Happy New Year too, ma'am. Well, mga kasangga, alam na this. Baka naman, pwede na mag-like, mag-share, at mag-comment. Diyos tiyag di na up. Hanggang sa muli!